What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Frank Warren, Anthony Joshua, Joyce. Get this. Frank says that I fancy Joe can knock him over. Frank Warren confirms contact with Matchroom over Anthony Joshua versus Joyce fight. Frank Warren says initial contact has been made with Rival. Is that Rival? Promotion company Matchroom for Joyce to fight Anthony Joshua. However, the legendary Queensberry promoter doesn't believe Eddie Hearn will accept their offer for an all-British heavyweight showdown. Joshua has been left looking for an opponent to fight around May or June, as Alexander Usyk is in the Ukraine helping his country fight off an invasion for Russia. As a result, Usyk won't be able to defend his titles he won from Joshua last September. So, Hearn, Joshua's promoter, says the two-time world champion gave him a short list of guys would be willing to fight in the interim, and Deontay Wilder, of course, was on top of the list. The other names were Luis Ortiz, Otto Vailene, and indeed Joyce. To add some spice in the mix, Joshua and Joyce have gone at it over social media this week, and previously unreleased footage of them sparring has also surfaced. What have you done? What have you got to lose? I fancy Joe, Warren said. For Joe, you look at two fighters. Joe has got a tremendous chin. He's got a great stamina. They talk about what happened to him as an amateur. Well, they're not amateurs anymore. They're pros. If you look at how they've got on since they've become pros, AJ done brilliantly. He became world champion. He's also been beaten twice, and he's been exposed, certainly in the last fight, very exposed. And I fancy Joe can knock him over. We have made initial contact, but I don't think they'll go with it. If they want it, they can have it, Warren stated. Those are the words of Frank Warren. This is news that it's exciting, but it's expected. Why? Because of the buzz of social media. Of course, what Anthony Joshua said. Anthony Joshua has made more noise over Joyce than he has Deontay Wilder, and Deontay Wilder's at the top of the list. Go figure, right? So those guys have went back and forth. So, that plant has sprouted out of the ground, and we'll see what it produces. Shout out to Frank Warren for sending over the initial contact, because that's a fight I think he wants. He wants to be a part of two big fights. And if he gets that fight, and if Anthony Joshua with Eddie Hearn, if those guys accept it, he will be a part of not just Tyson Fury and Dillian White, but he'll be a part of Joyce and Anthony Joshua as well. So, things are looking real good for Frank Warren. Now, him saying, and since this footage has came out, it's sparring. People say sparring doesn't matter. Yes, it does. Sparring does matter, but here's the thing about sparring. You have more sparring than actual fighting, okay? And sparring is a numbers game, okay? You can do one thing 12 times, but can you do it 24 or 36? So if you spar a person 36 or more times, right? Because 36, that's 3 fights. If you spar in 36, chances are that's going to be a mixed amount of winning versus losing, or success versus being unsuccessful, depending on who you're fighting, and vice versa. Okay, it's a numbers game. Joyce more than likely had his moments too. As he explained it, he's like, hey, we went to war in there. I know Joshua very well. We've got it on. We learned a lot about each other. So I don't think that Joyce just got destroyed, okay, in sparring. But at the amateurs, yes, he did. And that just goes to show you that Joshua excelled a lot faster than Joyce. Joyce is like 36, bro. Okay, so that tells you. Versus Joshua being, 31, 32 years old? Okay, well, he's done more. Him having everything, I think he was faster learning, and he was more successful at doing the things that he did. Okay, right place, right time type of situation, maybe so. But at the same time, Joyce is still undefeated. These guys are still beefing. I don't know if it's still going on. I haven't heard anything lately, but, the words have been spoken, okay? So I think that it would be a good fight. Frank Warren saying that Anthony Joshua's been defeated twice compared to Joe Joyce. But get this. He says that Joshua's been exposed, very exposed, especially in his last fight. Okay, well, if we want to talk about exposed, what about Joe Joyce? One guy beat both of these guys. Alexander Usyk beat him in the World Boxing Super Series. Joe Joyce. And Joyce kept coming. I mean, there was no quit in him. But he still was outpointed nonetheless. He didn't let up, but he was still beat. So really, basically, Joshua, and we looking at those sparring sessions and in how Joshua was easily avoiding these punches, he just has to be in shape. I mean, good shape. Because Joe Joyce is the type of person that he will not stop. So that's the thing that will help Joyce. But overall skill, no, he's not more skillful than Anthony Joshua. I don't give a shit what he's learned. Because even in the last fight, it wasn't anything near the skill set of Joshua. Let's just be real. Okay? But to talk about Joshua like, hey, he's been exposed. Well, who the hell's going to expose him? Joe Joyce? I think not. Okay? I think Joshua needs to stay away from huge punches. But then again, he has to be in shape because Joe Joyce will always keep coming. So I look forward to it, and I'm glad Frank Warren's jumping on this. I think Frank has had some newfound sense of rejuvenation as far as his career going, because for like 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 3 or 4, he was kind of looking gloom. Let's be real. But now he's back in action. He's reached out to Matchroom, and I like what I see. I like the idea. Is there better fights for AJ concerning his career? Sure there is. I would love to see Wilder over all of it. But is this a good fight? Of course it's a good fight. It gives Joe Joyce an opportunity to show who he is, just like he got the opportunity to fight Triple D, okay? But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about Frank Warren stating that Joe Joyce can knock Anthony Joshua over. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!